Hi friends, welcome back. So what the heck is going on with ARM stock and Bitcoin? They are both soaring today and want to share my thoughts and get yours as well. So let's start with ARM, up 29% on the day. So if you are in this thing long, please let me know in the comments. Love to hear like when you got in, what your plans are. And if you're on the short side, hey, it looks ugly. There's no other to put it. You're at 148 and well, let's just dig right in. So I'm looking at this thing right here, right? So this is ARM, you're at 148. You look back at IPO around $63. You guys can see that was back in September 14, 2023. And then it dipped down, right? So, it looks like maybe the low was around 47-ish, something like that. And, we all could have been buying this in October. I guess we should have, right? And suddenly this thing is now up 211%. I'd love to hear from anyone in the comments if you got in at the $40 level, right? The 47-ish, that was fantastic. And I want to dig through this stuff because I'm trying to figure out what is going on. And this is always a question you want to ask yourself when you're in this, is like, okay, are we trading on hype? Is this tulips? Or is this a fundamental based trade going on? Is there some sort of insider information that we don't know about that we need to know? This is sort of what I'm digging through today. Regarding Bitcoin, guys, and I want to connect these because I honestly think it is related. Bitcoin was at 50,000 today. It has certainly dipped a bit. So that caught my attention, and I was thinking to myself, and actually we'll look at the year chart here, up 129%. So, I mean, you've doubled your money in the past year, so fantastic. And in fact, I know we have people in the community that were buying in December, and so then you're up, roughly about the same percentage. Like literally, you can see it for yourself here. If you got in at Bitcoin in December, and then to now it's like 197%. So I wanted to point out how the moves in Bitcoin and the moves in ARM are closely connected in terms of percentage-wise and also the date. So it's just really interesting. The other thing too, and I want to point out, and this is key, is actually the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and you can see here Kelsey's kissing Taylor Swift. And, for all we know, the Swifties over on Twitter/X are all buying ARM and Bitcoin. You guys can let me know, did I miss a tweet by Taylor Swift that says, hey, everyone, please buy that? It's funny because in terms of some of the crazy numbers, let me guys show you this. This is ARM again, and we're saying here, hey, we got a PE ratio of 1800. That's a real. But the earnings per share, though, so it's a little bit misleading. So this is based on the past year. Forward looking, they were saying, maybe we're going to get like a dollar. So that's like a 10x improvement, essentially, something like that. I mean, no one knows exactly what the full year guidance is going to be in the future, but I just want to say that this is all about future guidance. Because if you look at past, obviously 1,800 PE isn't great, meaning that it's a little bit rich. Of course, who doesn't know that? Also, if you look at the options chain, which I don't talk about this stuff that often, but is this some sort of derivative thing? I'm scrolling through here, and this is the same as the last time we checked this stuff. You're absolutely killing it in the options. So some people are taking bets at the 185 level or 180 and strike price it is. And you're looking at like a 3,000% return. So, my personal opinion on this stuff, if you're getting 3,000% return, that's obviously very good. I can't stress that enough. And so, other people who are out there in that, please let me know in the comments. It's absolutely insane. There's other things I want to be looking at as well. First is, this is over on what are Wall Street's predictions for this thing, talking about ARM, that is. If you talk about Wall Street's, Bitcoin predictions, Kathy Wood's saying like, hey, it's going to be, $2 million. And, you get other people are going to say, oh, is this? Oh, Carl Ihn's buying JetBlue. And there's like a fight for JetBlue or something. Okay. But I've seen various projections of Bitcoin, 200,000, 2 million, whatever. I'm personally not in this stuff myself. But guys, I never lie. I look at the chart, and yes, if you got in Bitcoin in the right time and you're trading it well, fantastic. You're doing great. We're going to have the halving soon. I believe it's next month. So that's going to be a really interesting test to see what happens with Bitcoin after that. But I do follow it because honestly, Bitcoin for me is sort of the key speculative asset of sort of like, what kind of money for speculative things is where's it going, et cetera. And that's why I find it really interesting that the Bitcoin percentage gains and the ARM percentage gains are closely tied together. Now, I want to show you guys this too. So this is actually what Wall Street was predicting for ARM. And you can see the dates on the price predictions here. And this is back, our price targets. This is back on February 8th, February 9th, etc. The highest one that I see here was from Loop Capital for $120 on ARM. We're way past that. Citibank has it at a sell, 115 price target. Deutsche Bank, $82. Bernstein, $46. You know, what is it? I'm just looking at some of those. Wells Fargo, $85, but that was an older one. Just look at the newer ones. But you're looking at, like, you know, no one was saying, hey, this is going to be $140, $150 kind of thing. And honestly, guys, I'm just telling you my aspin and stuff. This certainly feels like tulips. And I want to show you some other things, and I'll kind of explain why I feel like that and talking about ARM here. This is the market cap of semiconductor companies. So as of now, NVIDIA market cap is 1.78 trillion. The reason why I'm bringing this stuff up is we had a similar situation. How was this 2 years ago already? Or yeah, it was 2 years ago already. Roughly, or well, a year and a half, but well, we'll just do this. November 12th, 2021. You know, we're already in 2024. Yeah, so a couple years actually. I remember when Rivian was skyrocketing, and all the headlines were like, this is the, you know, most valuable car company, or actually that not most valuable, at the time was like at third place or something like that, and hadn't produced any cars really. And it was definitely tulip mania back then, and I turned out to be right. And if you're curious, yes, I did short Rivian. So, you know, obviously it was the right call to make. You know, I mean, you're looking at this, it's down like 87% of where it was before. So, you know, ARM is a different situation than Rivian. In terms of tulip mania, I feel like it's certainly there. But I want to say that, you know, Rivian back then wasn't really making anything. ARM is you know, has revenue coming in, etc. But how does it compare to other companies? And this is sort of why, or how you want to check, like, is this tulips or not? Like you compare it to like where we are, like realistically, like, do you expect an ARM at the moment, according to this, at the moment is the 10th most valuable semiconductor company in the world. So, I mean, you can see it right here. And this in terms of market cap. So you got NVIDIA coming in at first at 1.78 trillion. And again, you got to go through these numbers because it gives you some sort of baseline of like, how can we, you know, value this kind of thing. Taiwan Semi's at 676 billion. That's second. Broadcom at 592. Samsung, which obviously is a major company. I'm in Korea, so I mean, obviously it is, but so is Taiwan Semi, right? I mean, these are major companies. 371 billion. ASML, 366 billion. AMD, 277 billion. Intel, 186 billion. Qualcomm, 170 billion. Applied Materials, 154 billion. Then there's ARM right there, 153 billion, just ahead of Texas Instruments and Lam Research, Analog Devices, bigger than Micron, etc. That's as of now, right? So that's what's going on there. Now, what you want to be doing, though, is comparing in other ways. There's many ways to compare companies. So that was just comparing market cap. We're looking at stock price. We're going to have movements, etc. And in fact, actually, let's do this too. We can actually look at, let's do it real quick. We can actually say, let's do NVIDIA, because that's been the really hot stock here. Let's just say, you know, from the same kind of time period, let's just do this past year here. And yeah, so this gives you a general idea. Same time period, I think, was it October, September was the same as ARM. That has gone up, talking about NVIDIA here, 70%. So ARM and Bitcoin are closely in terms of performance the last few months at the 200% up. I mean, guys, I can see it. But I want to look at this stuff as well. So again, when you compare companies, there's different ways to compare. Here's another way to compare companies. So ARM. They have 5,963 employees. Just, guys, a sense of like, how big are these companies? NVIDIA has 26,000 employees, right? Intel is actually pretty big, guys. 124,000 employees. AMD, 26,000 employees. And then Taiwan Semi, 65,000 employees. So, you know, if you look at this, it's pretty obvious that, you know, ARM is a much smaller company. You can see it for yourself in terms of like how many employees do you have on staff. Like, it's obvious to see. It's a lot smaller. So you're saying NVIDIA is like 5 times bigger than, you know, than ARM. And then when you take a look at the market cap here, you know, is what is ARM? ARM trading at like 153 billion. So, you know, but in this regard, I think NVIDIA is like bigger. It was like 10 times bigger kind of thing. And I mean, it's not just employees, guys. You also want to look at like how much money they make, etc. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? So actually, you want to scroll down here, and I was looking at this. I want to show you guys kind of the stuff that I look at. Here's your PEs. I don't believe these numbers are updated quite yet. I'd have to check exactly, but this gives you just some general ballpark. The problem is though is that if all of these are in a bubble, comparing one bubble, semiconductor company to another bubble semiconductor company, is that really helpful? Like look at this, for example. It's saying here that the PE non-GAAP of ARM is like 96, NVIDIA is 58, and then you have the GAAP PE of ARM at 530, and this is forward GAAP, okay? So that's being generous. So you want to look at now, it's like 1,431 compared to 95, or 530 to compare it to 64. So if that's like in this example here, let's say if they are going to be in the same industry and trade equally, etc., then this would suggest that ARM is 10 times overvalued if you believe NVIDIA is fairly valued at 64 forward PE. But again, forward stuff is all projections. You could compare price to sales or price to free cash flow, and you're getting a little bit closer actually. This is maybe would justify a little bit more. Where's the price sale right here? Yeah, this is NVIDIA compared to ARM. But the stuff I really want to look at, because I think it does certainly matter. But I mean, look at this. Gross profit margins are certainly higher for ARM. You can see that, guys, right there. So if you want to say, hey, this is all about fundamentals, look at there. You could look at net income per employee. And this is always kind of a fun one to talk about, like, how much money do you make for each person you have on staff. This shows that, like, NVIDIA is, like, really high. Look at this, like, 721,000, like, what the heck? But then there's another one too, which I like. I always like looking at stuff. It's kind of fun to compare companies because there's different ways to do it. I mean, this is more kind of cut and dry, obvious. So ARM has a revenue here of 2.94 billion. NVIDIA's revenue comes in at 44 billion. So clearly, NVIDIA is like the 10 times more revenue, right? I mean, you just see it right there in the numbers, right? And then Intel's 54 billion. It's kind of funny because everyone's always hating on Intel all the time. So they actually have a lot of people on staff, which maybe is part of their expenses, of course, and they actually bring in a lot of revenue. You can see it right there. AMD 22 billion and Taiwan Semi 70 billion. So that's a lot of revenue. Net income. So this is again, because you want to be saying, hey, is ARM is it going to shoot up to the prices of NVIDIA if it is trading on fundamentals? I mean, look at the net income right here. ARM 85 billion compared to NVIDIA's 18.89 billion. So this is where NVIDIA is shining. They just make oodles of cash. Intel 1.69 billion. You guys see the differences here? So you got to compare everything. You can't just compare revenue. You got to look at okay, how much money are you actually bringing in here? AMD 854, and then million, that is, and then Taiwan Semi 27 billion. You can look at gross profits. You can look at EBITDA. So ARM again 2.8 billion compared to NVIDIA 31 billion. Intel 21 billion. This is gross profit here. AMD 11 billion, and then it's Taiwan Semi 38 billion. So a lot of these metrics, it feels like to me, I mean, ARM's trading on tulips, because I'm just looking at numbers, guys, and it feels like, okay, if this thing was indeed the same, like, I mean, look at cash on hand, and actually NVIDIA and Intel got a lot of cash. Look at this. NVIDIA 18 billion, Intel 25 billion, AMD 5 billion, and then Taiwan Semi 54 billion, and like ARM has got 2.4 billion. Debt is honestly not that much for ARM, 221 million. Boy, a lot of debt for NVIDIA, 11 billion. Intel's dying in debt. Oh my God, 49 billion compared to that cash at 25 billion, and then AMD 3 billion, and then Taiwan Semi at 30 billion. The key thing though I want to go over though, guys, I was reading through this ARM thing. So first I'm showing you like stock performance. I'm talking about Taylor Swift. I'm showing the option chain. I'm showing you like comparing companies in terms of market cap, these kind of things. The reason why it feels like tulips, and there's a key line in here in this article. This is over February 12th, 2024. It says ARM shares jumped 29% as post-earnings rally extends the second week. There's a key line in here. It has to do with insiders. There's a lockup period. It says right here. It says, however, ARM's value may become clearer next month. Okay, pay attention to this. ARM's value may become clearer next month when the 180-day post-IPO lockup expires. SoftBank still owns 90% of the outstanding stock, meaning its stake in ARM has increased more than 61 billion since the company report last week and is now upward to 131 billion. So it also says here, second time in 3 trades, daily volume is 100 million shares, 10 times the average, 10 times the average of stock. So it's trading like way more than it normally trades, 10 times more than normal. And this is the key though, guys. The lockup will expire next month. The exact date, I don't see it here, but this is something you want to watch. So basically, the SoftBank, who owns a whole bunch of this stuff, can't sell. I'm sure they're licking their chops thinking, oh my God, look at all this money that we could rake in. We can, what is this? 61 billion here. It says the ARM has increased more than 61 billion since the company's last report week and is now worth upward. Yeah. So, or wait, is this? Yeah, this is SoftBank's stake. So, and they have 90% of the outstanding shares. So this is real sketchy. There's no other way to put it. All I'm doing is read numbers. I'm reading who holds this stuff. You know, and I understand out there people are going to tell you this thing's going to go to the moon, and maybe, right? Maybe because not that many of the shares that are available for trade are out there in the open, and so, you know, this thing could be, you know, skyrocketing until that lockup, but you're playing a risky game. Now, if you're, you know, either way, if you're on the short side of this thing, you're thinking, okay, this is definitely tulips, I'm going to get in. It's also a risky game, right? Did Wall Street bets pick up on this thing? Is there something going on with this? You know, that's always a thing. And, you know, you're trading, again, I think you're clearly trading on tulips here. In terms of Bitcoin, you know, a lot of people are told about this stuff and they think, are we at above 50,000 now? I think we are. So it just jumped up. It must have known I was recording this video. I think probably the key, when I was looking at this stuff before, for me, the key level is actually 45. So I'm honestly really surprised that Bitcoin is up so big. And guys, congratulations if you're in this stuff. But is it going to reach the all-time high? I thought it was like 67 or something like that. It looks, at least it's saying here 64. And you guys can let me know what the all-time high of Bitcoin was. The thing is, when you actually look at Bitcoin, I've showed you guys before on the channel, the peak of Bitcoin was November 12th, 2021. The peak of Tesla is actually around the same time period. And it also relates to the same kind of the peak of Rivian. So the peak of Tesla is right here. Oops. Was November 5th, 2021, right? So within about a week of each other. And then the Rivian was October was the peak. I was talking about this stuff during that time period, telling people, yeah, it's probably peak mania. Yeah, November 12th, 2021. So it's all around the same time, right? Peak Bitcoin, peak Rivian, peak Tesla were all the same time. And so the thing is, like, if you look at, okay, if ARM and Bitcoin are kind of the same kind of moving the same way, the same assets, you know, wherever the peak of ARM is and then the peak of Bitcoin, if they end up being connected and we look back in history, you'll say, yep, that's what happened. That was peak tulip mania. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this thing. If you guys have anything that I might have missed regarding ARM or Bitcoin, please let me know. And again, congratulations to Taylor Swift and the Kansas City Chiefs. For all we know, this is what's driving both of these assets. So thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you next video.